Devil's Third for the Wii U is widely considered to be one of the worst titles of 2015, but in this video game court, it's innocent until proven guilty. Court is now in session for another episode of Innocent Until Proven Guilty. Today's case involves an offender that almost didn't see the light of day. It was first announced in 2010, but only just hit store shelves a few months ago. Its first print run was so small that it quickly sold out across the country and escalated in value on eBay and other marketplaces. I learned about this on Twitter, and I knew that it would be perfect for IUPG, but the supply issues kept this from happening. Luckily, I was able to track down a reasonably priced copy a few weeks ago, so it's time to delve into the depths of Devil's Third. Before I begin, I want to remind my viewers that this is an M-rated title, so there's going to be plenty of gore, profanity, and partial nudity. I'm sure most of you won't be offended by any of that, but I just wanted to give advanced warning of what was coming. Anyway, with that addressed, let's get to the review. Devil's Third was released in Japan and the US on August 4th and December 11th, 2015, respectively. It was published by Nintendo and developed by Valhalla Game Studios. Devil's Third is the brainchild of Tomonobu Itagaki, the creator of the Dead or Alive series, who founded Valhalla after branching off from Tecmo in 2008. Given the title's 5-year production, Devil's Third is not surprisingly the initial offering from the company. The story involves a terrorist plot that destroyed the Earth's satellite, setting off an EMP that plunged the blue orb into darkness and anarchy. A group by the name of the School of Democracy, led by Isaac Kumano, claim responsibility for the destruction, and they plan on disrupting society by any means necessary. Amidst the chaos, the government enlists the services of Ivan, a Guantanamo Bay prisoner and former School of Democracy member, to stop the sod.
Something bothering you, Ivan?
The prison's been on emergency power. Cut my playing time straight to hell.
Blame that on the troubled topside. That's what I need your help with.
The badass tattooed Russian is more than capable of handling this, but he has to escape his jail cell first, which is easier said than done.
My ass. Those stories are bullshit, man. That dude don't look like bullshit to me.
The prison is crawling with criminals waiting to tear Ivan limb from limb, so he has to eliminate the threat with extreme force. This is accomplished via a hybrid hack and slash and shooting style benefited by simple but tight controls. The B button makes him jump, he can block and evade blows by holding L and moving the analog stick, and pressing X or Y dishes out fast and strong melee attacks. As Ivan continues to inflict pain on his adversaries, his M'Baku meter will grow. Pressing Y and B together when it's full will cause his tattoos to glow brilliantly and provide a temporary boost to his speed and power. The ex-SOD agent can equip himself with a ton of different weapons to blast and smash his way through the angry mob. The right trigger fires the guns and the left trigger switches to a first-person perspective for maximum efficiency. Ivan can simultaneously carry 2 guns, and they can be switched out on the fly by pressing up on the D-pad. Each weapon has advantages and disadvantages. Some shoot faster, some are stronger, and some are freaking RPGs and flamethrowers! The sniper rifle is my personal favorite, and I got a big kick out of striking from a distance and seeing the severed body parts spasm uncontrollably in my scope. Call me sick, but that is downright hilarious. Finally, if all else fails and the protagonist runs out of ammo, a simple press of the R button will toss out grenades to blow enemies to smithereens. Sweet! All in all, the controls are incredibly responsive, and the multifunctional analog sticks are a perfect testament to their precision. The left stick moves Ivan around at an average pace, but clicking the left stick will result in a dash. The right stick manipulates the camera, and it performs this job admirably, but clicking the right stick drops Ivan into a crouching or sliding position. The right stick's camera manipulation is excellent. The camera intuitively knew when to zoom in closer for intense segments and when to remain wide, and I never felt hampered by the camera like I have with other 3D adventure titles. This attention to detail really shows how passionate Itagaki was about this project, and I was quite impressed with many aspects of the overall package. The gritty visuals convey the gruesome subject matter, the sound effects lend a vibe of authenticity, and the voiceover cast is solid across the board.
Ivan, right? Well, our team names are classified, so you can call me Bob.
No offense, but I've got a job to do, and that doesn't include babysitting you and your cowboys.
It may seem like there's absolutely nothing wrong with Valhalla's debut effort, but there was a reason that Devil's Third received a Metacritic score of 43, and it starts with the gameplay itself. Our hero's mission to extinguish the Sod menace sends him across the globe, and he is assisted in this task by the Delta Force. The level layout may change from one location to the next, but the same basic formula is present throughout. The good guys enter a new setting and are besieged by a bunch of baddies. Ivan and the soldiers clear the section of hostiles with deadly force and move on to the next to repeat the process until it culminates in a boss fight. This formula is occasionally broken up by the welcome addition of the vehicle and turret sections, but they only temporarily alleviated the monotony. It didn't help that the difficulty scale gets a bit much in the later stages. Tomonobu Itagaki worked on the modern Ninja Gaiden titles, and his newest creation retains his signature flair for brutality. Waves and waves of foes can appear in the blink of an eye, and I was usually able to swiftly wipe them out, but there were a few spots that really pissed me off. I mean, just look at this. How cheap is that? Even with regenerating health and checkpoints, that's totally unfair. Toughness aside, Devil's Third is littered with bugs and frame rate jitters. The worst frame rate I've ever experienced was in Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis for the GBA, and while this isn't as atrociously slow as that port, it still lagged quite frequently. I have no idea why the action chugged along at a snail's pace so often, but it never restricted my ability to complete the necessary tasks, fortunately. As for the glitches, they're numerous and affect the game in different ways. As far as I can tell, there haven't been any patches to correct these kinks, and I don't know if there ever will be. However, whether or not an update occurs in the future, the current state of Devil's Third is far from broken, and the cumulative impact of the glitches are minor at best and didn't hinder me from beating the game. The bosses definitely put up a good fight though, and I found myself constantly fleeing from their fierce attacks. The guinea pig and Jane Doe were especially annoying in that they can trap Ivan for an instant, unavoidable death. Thankfully, there are infinite lives, so I kept rolling and slicing until I had attained victory. The defeat of each boss ushers in more exposition about Sod and Ivan's role in the organization.
Fester like rats. You had to fumigate, then burn them in their nest.
Those kids in the hospital, were they terrorists?
Kill them where they're young, cabron.
I'm out of here.
The plot honestly didn't really leave a lasting impression on me. There were some great character moments throughout, and it was nice seeing the events that led to Ivan's arrest, but the bulk of the narrative is pretty standard stuff for the genre. The conclusion was anticlimactic and disappointingly easy. Ivan confronts Isaac Kumano as nuclear winter looms ominously in the horizon. ultimately, Ivan stabs Kumano. Ludmilla seeks revenge but is halted by C4.
Ivan!
And the nukes are deactivated. The virus that mutated the SOD team is purged from C4 and her mentor is freed from his sentence.
I want to see her before I'm sent back to my cage.
Take your time, Ivan. You've earned your freedom and the gratitude of the United States of America.
This isn't over.
It's a happy ending for sure, but it just felt kind of rushed and the tone didn't sit right with me. That pretty much wraps up my Devil's Third experience. There's a bonus score attack mode where players can compete to clear the stages for the most points in order to rank on the leaderboards, as well as an online multiplayer option. I experimented briefly with this and promptly got my butt handed to me, but I had a ton of fun and I created an awesome looking character, and that's always a plus in my book. Devil's Third is at a long and eventful journey from its conception during the 7th generation up to its release on the Wii U. The 5-year development cycle should have ensured that an exceptional quality title was shipped to retail shops, but the finished product has a number of flaws. Are these flaws enough to condemn Devil's Third, or are the critics too harsh in their assessment? Let's find out in the breakdown! Devil's Third would have been a fantastic entry in the PS2 library, but it feels dated in the current console generation. There's really nothing memorable here that hasn't been explored better already in its genre predecessors. The hybrid combat style was enjoyable when I began my session, but I grew to be bored with the repetitive nature of the action with each passing hour. The combined aesthetics are rather dull and are degraded even further by a slew of bugs. All of these issues add up to the cold hard truth that Devil's Third should have been scrapped when THQ went bust. It's true that Valhalla's career got off to a rocky start, but that doesn't mean it's an irredeemable mess. Devil's Third was helmed by the man that reinvigorated the Ninja Gaiden franchise, and the spark that breathed fresh life into that series is present here. The story is engaging with cool characters, the hack and slash element, while monotonous, is well crafted, and I had a blast testing out the online capabilities. As for the aforementioned programming hiccups, none of them adversely affected my experience, and I actually got a few laughs from them. All in all, Devil's Third is a decent shooter that doesn't deserve the negative publicity. In the case of Devil's Third, I rule that the verdict is guilty! Yes, Devil's Third is guilty, because a game that took over 5 years to produce shouldn't be littered with bugs and frame rate drops. It doesn't matter if they're minor or major, the fact that they exist at all is inexcusable. At least Sonic Boom in 06 had a deadline to blame for their problems. Itagaki had plenty of time to carefully craft a masterpiece, and he failed to deliver. With that said though, Valhalla's first attempt isn't terrible. The online mode is fantastic and the single player offers a decent challenge. However, I can't recommend picking this up unless you find a good deal. Avoid eBay at all costs, as this is still selling at exorbitant rates. With that wrapped up, there will be a brief recess so that I can prepare for another highly requested trial. Be sure to come back for that, but until then, court is now adjourned. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, click any of the boxes on the screen right now and you'll be able to watch a few more of my videos. And if you haven't already, be sure to click that red box right there in the corner and that'll subscribe to the channel and you'll be able to keep up to date with all of my current content. Thanks again, everyone.